Everybody, welcome to the John Cat Show. Got a very special guest here with us today, my man Jake Ralston in the house. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy?
Chilling, man. What you been up to?
Not much, man. Just working, COVID whole deal and just laying low for the most part. Some stuff has been open. I'm out here in Colorado, so
Colorado.
yeah, there's a lot of restaurants that are open to like certain capacity, and we were just bowling yesterday, so I
I
mean
saw
there's a
you
good
on
amount
IG.
of
You big bowler, huh?
yeah, I am a big bowler now.
Putting a
I
little
am.
curl on that thing. I
I
saw
do.
it.
That was actually oh wow, here's
I saw it.
uh,
Had a little curl on there. What's up, Cole? How's it going? Wow, sick arm, dude. Is that for Halloween?
yeah, we
Nice.
were at Spirit Halloween yesterday and picked up the arm. It was between that and a machete. So
What are you
let me.
dressing as, Cole? Speak into the mic.
I don't think he really knows yet.
You don't
It's
know.
probably going to be Pennywise the clown, but
He's got the
if you
arm at
can
least.
pull, go out and close the door. Thanks, man. I don't know. Is it?
I guess since there might be a couple people listening to this other than us, I guess we should explain to people who you are or whatever. I mean, Jake and I go way back to the Sound Advice days. That has to be what, 15 years or something?
Well, yeah, 15 years because I got that job right after I got out of the army. My family had moved down from New York to South Florida.
You were
They
young
were
as
living
shit.
in actually, yeah, they were in West Palm at the time, up in Wellington. And she was like, "Well, why don't you come down and visit?" I didn't know what I was gonna do, and
Yeah.
I ended up getting a job. Doug Wixon, do you remember?
Of course, I see him on Facebook all the time. He's on my Facebook, man. I see him all the time. He's always posting
Yeah,
stuff. Oh
I
yeah.
haven't talked to him in a long time, but he
Doug's
was
funny, man.
yeah, he was the initial person that hired me, and
Yes,
he was
sir.
ex-military also, so
Yes.
kind of got me in, and it was yeah, I actually hated it. I
Doug has
hated that
that
job.
vibe.
Yeah, I hated it. You had a good job. You were chilling in the shop.
Yeah.
You who we had a there was a couple of good old salesmen in there. There was like Dan Marion, a
Oh
couple
yeah.
of
I was the baby. For people that don't
yeah,
know, Sound Device used to be a big like high-end audio video chain in South Florida. At the peak, there was probably what, 15, 18 stores or something throughout Florida. Then we
yeah,
got
but it
bought
was
by
also owned by another company.
well,
It
we
was
got
owned by
bought.
Tweeter.
Well, not the first few years I was there. They got bought by
Right, right.
Tweeter. That's what fucked everything up. It was a good company before that, the privately owned. But
That's what they all said, but I mean, who knows? The people that originally owned Sound Advice would probably saw it going downhill and were like,
probably.
let's
Well, they
unload this
reopened
shit.
it again after. I don't know if you saw that. A few years ago, they
I did
reopened.
see that.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale and Boca. They went under
Yeah,
again, but they reopened the two biggest stores.
yeah,
I went in both of them for a minute, but that Boca one bare. The Lauderdale one was open a few years. That Boca one was maybe like a year it was open on the
yeah.
reopen.
It didn't do well. I had a buddy that I worked with in AV for another company, and he went to go to work there. But they did a weird thing. It was like all commission based installing, which
Yeah,
is kind of a weird thing because sometimes you're dependent on the salesman and
right.
how much money you're going to make on the install. If they sell like a surround sound for 450 and it takes you 2 days, you only make whatever
You're getting
18% on
commission
that
on someone
450.
else's work. Yeah,
Yeah,
got to at least pay a base. Yeah, the whole hi-fi. Like I said, when I started there, I was like, I don't know, 25 or 26. They didn't want to hire me because I was so young. It was the old, like you said, Dan and Don, Jimmy Arico hired me. These guys were been there since like the 70s. Jimmy's like, oh, maybe you could sell car stereos and stuff. I'm like, dude, I promise I can sell home audio video. Like, just give me a chance. He's like, what are you, like 18? Like, I look like I was a teenager at that age, you know?
you still look pretty young. I got
You
way
look young as
fucking
shit
gray,
too.
man.
If you shaved, you'd look fucking 25 without that
I
salt and
know
pepper.
my girlfriend likes the beard, so I keep it, but I look at it and I'm like, I don't
You
know,
still
man.
look young though, because you got good skin, bro. There's no wrinkles. Good, the skin's what counts.
I'm hanging in there.
You made me think of a funny Doug Wixon, typical. What's going on over there?
She said I have a lot of wrinkles. She
Do
heard
you?
that comment.
I got some
Yeah.
crow's feet. I'm
I
pale
got
as
the crow's feet for
shit right
sure, and
now.
I got the lines.
I'm so
And
pale right now, dude. That's tough. You got to get a tan to look good too.
yeah, she's tan and pasty as fuck. She looks like a ghost, and she's got wrinkles too. But
Right,
here's
right.
the thing: she bullshits. She gets migraines and she gets Botox.
Right, right.
You
They
know
all
they
say
do
it's
that.
for the migraines, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
they inject it in her forehead and like in her eyes and shit. I'm like, okay.
I've been told recently that every woman in the country gets Botox, which I wasn't aware of, but apparently they all do it. So is my understanding. But
Yeah, it's nothing.
but yeah, Doug, man, Doug Wixon, he was like you said, he was military. That dude was so ruthless. He came in one day for Christmas. I'll never forget. He came in one day and he brought everybody, like, he had a giant bag or box of liquor bottles for everybody. So we start handing them out like Merry Christmas. And you see, like, Dan gets like this nice big bottle of like Johnny Walker or something like that. And then you see like people getting like little pints of Absolute and shit. Like, wait, what's going on? Doug flat out goes, listen, I picked these bottles based on what I think of each of your performances. So, if you're
No.
not happy with what you got, just step it up. Like, dude gave zero fucks. He basically came in with like
Damn.
tiny little cheap ones for people he thought badly of. It was like his
He
own
wasn't.
system too. It wasn't even based on like sales, like, or any real numbers. It was just like his own personal evaluation of what he thinks of you.
Yeah, he was a bad motherfucker too. He was an installer too for like
Yes.
years and
He
years.
knew his
And
shit.
like, yeah, he knew his shit and he was just like, hey, get out. That's it. You're pissing me off now.
You still
Here,
doing any of that install?
installing?
Yeah, programming,
Oh yeah.
installing. That's still
Yeah,
your
I do
gig?
it all. I mean, I work for a commercial company now. We do like so this is kind of cool. We did a job for this company called Leprino. It's a cheese company, local company that started in like 80 something. This guy, Jim Leprino,
Okay.
started making cheese, local shop, selling it. He ended up building like this giant factory basically in downtown Denver, and he has cheese scientists. He sells like the cheese formula to like Papa John's,
Oh,
Domino's,
sick.
all these places they order. So it's still individually owned, and it's like a $4 billion fucking company.
Oh,
And
shit.
he owns it individually and still comes in every day. He's like 82, something like that. We just did all the conference rooms there, like these Crestron Mercuries. It's like a all-in-one.
Crestron. I haven't heard that word
Yeah,
yet. So wait,
yeah. Do you
what
remember
town are
when
you
Trick
in?
Daddy when we were working at Sound Advice, when Trick Daddy called Sound Advice, he talked to someone at the front desk, and he's like, "Let me talk to white boy Marty,"
I don't
and they're
remember
like,
that.
"Yeah." He's like, "Let me talk to white boy Marty," and they're like, "Okay, yeah, hang on." They go and grab Marty. I don't know if you remember him. He was Doug's friend too.
I
They go
do remember.
down and they
Marty was
grab
the
him.
Crest. Of course, he was the Crestron master. Of course, I
Yeah,
remember Marty. Yeah, he always, my biggest jobs, they'd have to bring Marty out because no one else could figure out the system. Yeah.
yeah. So he's like, "Let me." I guess he went to one of his friends' house or whatever, and they come back. And he's like, yeah, this is white boy Marty. He's like, yo, what's up with this Pestron?
Crestron.
He was like, you want some Pestron,
He was in
bro?
Miami, Trick Daddy.
Yeah, he was from Miami. Yeah,
Where are you? You're
but we did.
outside of Denver, right?
Yeah, I'm in Lakewood.
How far
We
from
did a
Denver?
couple of jobs actually for football players and famous people down there at Sound Advice. We
Oh,
did
all
Ted
the
Ginn
time.
Jr.
Yeah,
He got drafted by the Dolphins. He's still playing actually.
all the time. All those athletes down there, they're always doing, because off season, everybody lives in Florida, even Tampa area. They're everywhere. All the baseball guys have training there. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's
were
like
always
Texas,
doing.
Florida, anywhere where you don't have to pay taxes. I mean, look at Rogan. He just got that $100 million deal on Spotify,
Yeah,
moved straight down to Texas. He's like, you're not fucking taxing this with California taxes.
bro, that's what I fucking listen. We're not getting political yet. I swear. No, that's what I was preaching about the other day. We, as a country, we have to take that approach because you can say all day, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if we get 50%, 60% of taxes from these huge corporations?" But they're not going to stay here. Just like everyone leaves Cali and goes, "We're not paying your crazy taxes."
Yeah.
They leave our country and they go, we're not paying your crazy taxes. So like, you want to get just enough where they're all going to stay here and we'll get all of it. Because if you can make it as high as you want, but people are just going to go, fuck you. I'll put my headquarters in Sweden and I'll pay their taxes instead of your taxes.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Bezos is doing. You know, he's got Amazon, he's got Whole Foods and all of his other companies, and he doesn't pay any taxes.
They
And
don't pay
and he's
any
like, yo, look,
taxes.
I'll pay the fucking taxes if you put the rules in place.
Right.
If you're gonna let me not pay taxes, what would you do?
Of
You know what I
course.
mean?
I don't blame
I would
anybody
not
who's
pay taxes too.
legally not paying taxes. The tax system's just such a mess. It's like everyone says, like, a regular person, you and I could never understand the tax system ever in a million years. The tax
You need
code's
a lawyer.
it's 10 trillion pages. Like, nobody understands it. You hand your papers to someone, they put it in a computer. But like, it's weird that we all work for this money and give like a third of our checks to the government, and we have no control over where it goes, no saying where it goes, no idea. Like, I always said this for years. We should all get like a statement when we pay our taxes that shows you like where every dollar, because it's your money.
You should get to fucking pick. I would take it a
You,
step further.
at the very least, you should get a receipt that shows like X amount went to XYZ, and maybe you should get
Yeah.
to have some discretion over that. I don't
You should
disagree
at
with that
least,
at all.
okay, so let's say like you well, obviously there's a huge percentage of that budget that's for the military. I
Right.
get that. We live in a dangerous world, but part of it also is like how many nukes do we have? Over 10,000 something.
We
You know, we
destroyed
have enough.
most of the arsenal, I
Yeah,
think.
we have enough to end it, even if we didn't keep funding our military. But let's just say, cool, let's keep funding it. There should be like a baseline percentage that everything needs, and then everyone votes where those extra tax dollars go. Does it go to education? Does it go to whatever? And I want to see how that fucking money is being spent, because I
Agreed.
think all these government programs, the bigger they get, the more money that they spend, and it just fucking disappears to
Disappear.
some guy's bank account.
It never goes to the source, man. And every year they create. It's my biggest gripe with government. I know you're super like apolitical, so it's funny because like we talk a lot. You hate everybody. You hate Republicans. You just and
I,
it's a fucked up system because it's a two-party system,
yeah,
and you're never gonna get to real solutions. But like you said, the federal government, every program costs a gazillion dollars, and how much of that money is if it's to help this group of people, the money's not getting down to those people, and if it is, it's like 10% of it, and the rest is lying in everybody's pockets. I think, and I always say, and I didn't come up with this idea, obviously local and state governments ideally should handle a lot more of that stuff because they're right there on the ground, they're right there with you, they're right there in your town, you know what I mean? Like,
barely, but I hear what you're
yeah, but at
saying.
least you have some kind of real access to that entity. At least they live in the same town you live in. It's not some bureaucratic office in Washington with 200 people you'll never meet, you'll never speak to. At least, like, if it's people handle it, like, grew up in your town, grew up in your state, have the same wants, and it's better. Some of those are a lot more of those seem a lot more efficient. Even though, yeah, if there's money involved, everyone's just trying to line their pie. It's all about money and power.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, right? Isn't it? It's a money grab, just like everything
It's a
else.
power grab and it's a money grab.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the only kind of way you can measure your success in this country, kind of as we see it, is financially or by status. Whether you're a politician or you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you kind of hear certain uh, job jobs or positions, and you're like, oh, it automatically commands respect. But at the end of the day, these people that are politicians are humans too, and they're beholden to their own vices and
Yeah, man.
the influences that are in them that may be getting them into that position. I mean, it's almost like I did a job for this guy a while back, and his son worked at Capitol Hill down in DC, and he was saying uh, it's corrupt, yes, but less in the way that you think. It's more like all about personal gain, right? So they'll hold a position, they'll get into office, and then they'll get out. And the whole time that they're in office, he's saying like 80% of their time is spent campaigning. They're
Right.
just trying to get fucking reelected.
Right.
It's
Of
really
course.
about the parties, the game. of holding power in the Senate or holding power in
They
Congress.
don't even hide
I
it
don't,
anymore
yeah, they don't even
on
hide it.
either
And I
side.
don't know what I'm talking about,
No,
but
they really don't on both sides. They really don't hide it anymore. It's all become like the politics has become about the game itself rather than the
so that's
issues.
the problem.
Right.
That's
It's
the problem. Whoever started this shit, I feel like was so smart that they realized this is what the whole Trump thing brought to my attention was like all you have to do is create teams, right? If you're someone wanting to gain financially or a position of power, you have to put yourself at the top of the game and then create two teams, right? So like Trump,
right.
he's like, this is my fucking team, and I'm on it so hard. I don't care if I offend the other side at all. It will embolden my side so that they have my back even more. And it's I don't think he intentionally divided the country. I just think he's a master, um, not a businessman, but he's a master
He's a
communicator
master
and
marketer is what
user,
he is.
master marketer. That's what I'm looking for, and
Well,
user of the media too.
he's a couple things because you made a ton of good points. One, the fix is you get, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, get rid of the two-party system completely. If you really blew that up, meaning we have 100 senators and we have what, I don't know, how many Congress people, 400 or 500 something.
Oh,
I should
don't
know that
ask
off the
me.
top of my head. Don't at me, folks. No, think about 100 senators, right? Rather than having all of them be Republicans and Democrats and like one independent, of those 100, there should be like 30 different parties, right? If you don't come up, let's say I'm running in Ohio as a congressperson or as a senator, and I don't align myself with Republican or Democrat, and you're allowed to do that. I can say I'm the Tan Party, I'm the Johnny Katz Party, whatever the fuck I want to call myself, and I can come up with my own good ideas. And then the more of those people that get elected, now they're in Washington, and when these votes come up and stuff, and they have to make like logical decisions, they can look at these Republicans, Democrats, be like, fuck you guys. I never said I was with you. I don't owe you anything. I don't have to vote with you. I'm going to vote with the people that put me in office. If you could get rid of that two-party system, this tribal, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, like these
It'll
vote,
never get resolved
bro,
from now.
these logical votes come to Congress and they literally get like zero. It's like 48 to nothing. It's like somebody has to agree with it on that side. They're just not allowed to say that because they'll be like the outcast of their party. So like they shouldn't even
It's a
be part of
game.
that party. It's
It's a
all
game now,
it's all a
and it's how
game.
it's played.
As far as
Yeah,
Trump being a master marketer, listen, I say all the time, and people go, "Oh, he's such a bad businessman," and look at all his failures and stuff. I'll make this point: before The Apprentice, before the internet, before cable TV, before any of that, he was
I knew who he was.
top 3 recognizable people in the world. In the 80s, you could have gone to Japan, you could have gone to Saudi Arabia, shown a picture, everyone says Donald Trump.
What's going on, Donald or Howard Stern, just making appearances on
But
Stern. He's just a master of the media.
even before, yeah, but I mean, people go like, "Oh, he took his daddy's $1 million or whatever he inherited." I could give $1 million to a million people, not one of them would become a world recognized name, top 5 history.
Got
So
more than $1 million. Do you believe he got $1 million?
you could give everybody $1 billion. The point is that in and of itself, whatever you want to call it. And then you're talking about like 2 of the toughest industries in the world as far as New York City real estate, network television. The guy did network television, top rated show for like 15 years. Sure, his stakes failed and he bankrupted a casino and whatever, but like that's a bigger accomplishment than anything. You know, he wasn't the richest guy. You know what I mean? To make yourself
Uh,
a world known name, I don't know how somebody goes about doing that. And it's not just from
cl-
going on Howard Stern a few times.
clearly a master marketer, right? I mean, and you know the thing. So like, I'm not a Trump guy. I
Of
mean, you know
course.
this,
Of course. Of
right?
course.
So I'm not like but I'm not one of those kind of people that will just immediately dismiss someone because I don't agree. Like, I don't like him as a guy, right?
I
If
know you're
I
not.
don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he handles himself. I think it's egotistical and whatever. Say what you want about him, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't accomplish anything good, right? You know, some foreign policy stuff. He's
You're
not
a
trying to
you're a
get bullied.
logical person. You can recognize good and bad. You're not just going blind for some team. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
allowed.
So
You fucking
I think they should actually get rid of all parties, right? I don't think there should be actually anyone representing. I think the people should represent in the form of like an online vote. And I know everyone's like, oh, China and Russia is gonna hack. Figure it the fuck out. The idea is let the
mm,
people vote. Isn't that what we're doing anyway?
yeah,
Isn't
but
that
we're
what
not
democracy
a
is?
yeah, but we're not a direct democracy. We're a
Well,
democratic.
let's be.
I don't think we should be. I think we should be a democratic republic, but I think we need to fix a lot of it because
Why not make it local to your region, your
because
votes?
a lot of it is and state and like I said, federal government, in my opinion, should be so limited anyway. So that yeah, your state and local votes and stuff like that, those should mean so much more because they should be handling 90% of this. You don't want. I bitch about this on here all the time. Who the fuck wants more federal government in their lives? It's such a weird instinct. I mean, that's what I would say to you politically is like, and I keep saying this. It's gotten to the point, and I know you pretty well, right? Unless stuff's changed, I mean, to me, it really, honest to God, does not matter who the candidates are. If you look at the citizenry of this country, right, and the who's actually like so intolerant right now, and really attacking free speech and our First Amendments and our Second Amendments. I mean, I don't care who the candidates. I'll never align myself with, like I would say to somebody before, like Trump. He's the Trumpiest guy in the world, but it's like, what do you want people to do? Like, oh, he made fun of a retarded kid, so now I'm going to become a Marxist. I mean, the stuff people stand for on the left right now and how far fucking crazy. I could never align. I don't know if you watched that Brett Weinstein interview on Joe Rogan. Such a smart dude, that guy, but he kept talking
Yeah.
about the uninvention of America. You know, whether or not we've achieved what we're supposed to achieve and we keep striving for, I'm all for fixing stuff and correcting things, but people really want to take it down and do something different. And I'll never align with those people. I don't care who I have to vote for. Whoever's closer aligned to preserving what we're supposed to be, I'm gonna be in that camp all day.
I
That's
don't
how I
know.
look at it.
Who's to say it can't change for the better? You know?
It
I mean,
absolutely
why
can.
can't it?
Because the goal of too many people I see on a certain side right now is to uninvent what we invented a few hundred years ago, because they say, well, it was flawed and it was founded in racism and this and that. Just because
Well,
we
I don't
didn't,
care about the whole founded in racism
well,
thing. I
forget
think that's
racism, but that it's a flawed system, that capitalism is flawed, right? There really is. It used to be a joke when people say, oh, they want socialism in this country. No, like a really high percentage of a lot of people on the left actually would want what they don't understand to be socialism in this country. They really want that now.
I wouldn't mind an extra fucking paycheck a month. I'll tell you that right now. It's hard enough out here with COVID and all this shit. If you want to give me $1,000, you might get a vote.
No, but that's a perfect example. Look what's going on with COVID and people dragging their heels playing political games. They go like, oh, you're going to get another stimulus check. And 6 weeks later, they're still arguing about what
I never got
program
my
they're going to,
first one.
because they're arguing over what program they're going to fund through that. You should have
I
got your
think it's
first one.
probably because I didn't pay my
I was
taxes
say you
last
should have
year,
got the
but
first one. Yeah.
it's all good. I forgive you,
I'm
government.
going to edit you out saying you didn't pay your taxes. But no, really, man, it's like I know you fucking well enough to know that you are not aligned with those kind of fucking people at all. At all. I know you're not.
No, I'm not aligned with anyone. I mean, I think
I
that's the
get
whole
it, but
point
I'm
I'm
saying
trying to
like
make.
if right,
Who
but
the fuck? Why are we aligning with someone? Why are we aligning with a fucking 7-year old
because like I said,
retarded guy?
forget Trump and Biden. Forget Democrat and Republican. These ideals of
Did I say retarded on
I called the kid retarded earlier. We'll edit that out.
there? All right.
These ideals go back to the beginning of civilization. These sociological left and right. It's not. Yes, I get we've devolved it into Democrat and Republican and all that, but there's a whole lot more meaning behind it. You can look at so many cultures throughout. I mean, you were in the military. Look at what happens throughout the world. Look at how this stuff goes wrong. 1,000 times throughout history. There's no
Yeah,
reason
I
it
think
can't.
there's no argument that socialism on several uh, attempts. I don't know what the right word is, but when they've tried to apply socialism several times in the past, it hasn't worked, right? But
Right.
it's almost like a resource based thing, right? Like what if we had the resources? What if we got into vertical farming and like where they're making these genetically modified meats or lab meats or whatever. I know a lot of people aren't going to be into that, but once this dumbass generation dies out and people aren't so opposed to change, maybe you get, you know, I think we talked about this a long time ago,
I
but
was
what
gonna
if
say,
they had just like these fucking giant structures or whatever that the government built with our taxes, and it had apartments in it for single people and families, and had
well, we do
fucking like
that. I mean,
movie theaters and entertainment, and like you get that as a baseline. You know what I mean? You could live there. You're free to go outside the bubble and achieve
well,
and create a business, but you don't starve and you don't die. There's a fucking
well, no,
hospital.
we do that. I mean,
Do we?
the government had there's millions of
I
people
would like.
living.
Can I get some?
Well, if you were poor enough and didn't have a job and a kid, for sure you could be on federal welfare and state and local welfare and have food subsidies and have rent
So because
subsidies.
I
And
make
then,
more than 12 grand a year, which is a
yes,
ridiculous.
that's why a lot of people in that position don't get jobs. Because yes, if you exceed a certain income and then the more kids you have, the more you qualify. Listen, there's a,
Shit, I'm about to start pumping out kids. Then
listen,
fuck this whole thing.
there's a big misconception about people not being able to feed their kids in this country. People could feed. There's nobody in this country, unless you have a mental disorder, you could feed your kid apples and oatmeal and fucking, hard boiled eggs and stuff
Oh man, that's a pretty fucking crass
for $4
take, though,
a
isn't
week.
it?
No, I'm just saying, show me. Adam Carolla used to say all the time, he'd say, show me anyone calling the show who can't afford to feed their kid. Like, bring me that person. No one will present them unless you have. There are people that can't feed their kids.
No, it's out there.
They
I
have
don't think
listen.
that's cool. I
People with
don't think that's right.
I'm not saying those people don't exist, but they have psychiatric issues and stuff like that. I mean, if you're
I mean, look at this whole COVID situation, right? So you have all these people, the schools closed down. Just down where you are, Broward County, Dade County, you see how many kids relied on those school breakfast and lunch. $2 to feed your kid for a day. My school right here in Lakewood in Colorado, they have lifted all school pay so my son can have breakfast and lunch every day. I can't tell you how much that means to me as a parent.
I'm not saying it. Listen, look, if there was a way to build what you're talking, if there was a way to feed people with engineered meat, I want to feed the whole world. You know what I'm saying? But personal
So what the
responsibility.
fuck are we doing?
Because
What are we spending all of our money on? Why isn't all
if
that
you
the
looked,
focus as opposed to controlling power
it,
and fucking trade and
it
like all
should
this
be.
little weird energy shit? Let's just focus on the real problems here.
If you looked like we were talking about before, we have no control over it, man. If you saw the list of like the programs we're funding and then what they actually do and like what
Just
they're,
people lining their pockets.
it's like thousands of these programs and they're all bullshit and they're from both sides. I'm not blaming either side here. This is all we've done for years. They call it pork. Every bill they slide in pork and they go, let's get this program for $19 million and this one for $40 billion. That's like nobody bats an eye and it's these insane amounts of money. And it's the federal government. I like to say too that I'm not Democrat or Republican. I say I'm libertarian.
You're a Republican,
I'm
bitch. Get
not.
out of
I've
here.
never voted Republican.
Get out of here.
I am 100% not aligned with 90% of the GOP members. Voting for Trump was the first time I voted Republican. I've always been a registered.
Why were you such a big Trump supporter? I'm
Always.
interested to hear that. Actually, hang on. Hey, Coley. Cole. I need him to get me a glass of wine.
We're not editing this out. I want everyone to know you're an alcoholic. I'm an independent.
You could have just asked. I would have told you.
Listen, like I said, I am a libertarian lean. You can ask me any issue, and my answer is always going to be get the fucking federal government out of our lives. And traditionally, real conservatives, of which there aren't many, tend to align more closely with that libertarian. It wasn't always that way, but currently, people that are pretty far right other than a lot of issues I don't agree with the right on, of which there are a ton. As like a true libertarian, for example, I say all the time, I would decriminalize every single drug there is. Show me a Republican that feels that way. I would
Oh man, yeah,
decriminalize.
for real.
I
Please
would
do that. If I
decriminalize
could walk
every
into a
substance.
drugstore and just
I'm not
buy
saying you should
an
be able
eight
to.
ball of cocaine,
No, 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 no,
I think
no.
you should.
Decriminalize meaning you shouldn't be putting
Uh,
people in prison for personal use. Different than going into Walgreens and buying heroin and coke.
I want to go to Walgreens and just buy an eight ball right off of the fucking rack with the little paper thing and just they sell a straw separately.
For the record,
That's what
Jake does
I'm
not
going
use
for.
cocaine anymore. No.
Cocaine is great. I stand by that.
I don't know. I wouldn't know. Seriously though, Fed government was
What
created
about
for a few reasons. So
Cole, I need alcohol.
this kid's gonna be in therapy in 10 years
Oh
talking about
man,
the
10
alcohol.
years. Can you fill that, please? White wine? No, red wine, please.
So real shit though. That's why I'm gonna more closely be aligned with the right than the left normally. And by the way, I've definitely changed as I've gotten older. When I was
Everyone, that's what they say, right? That's the old saying. If you find me a young Republican, I'll show you someone with no heart. Show me an old Democrat, I'll show you someone with no brain or whatever, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
there's truth into that.
Yes,
for sure.
people's views should evolve. And right, when people get older, the part about like kind of self responsibility and all that type of stuff, the people I know who are like very into like taking personal ownership of their own problems and stuff tend to lean a bit more right. And the people that kind of go like, I need somebody to guide me and kind of help me with stuff, those people kind of I don't want to categorize everybody.
I think that's an oversimplification.
It is, but it's a mentality. And you know, maybe like, it's easier for certain people to have that mentality because they don't need help, right? So that it's easy for them to
hear
be
what
like,
you're saying. I think from my perspective, and I'm not a political guy either, you know, even though obviously I have a lot of political takes, but I think when I think of Democrats, maybe I should change that because I don't know where it's at now. There's so much information that I can't even tell what a Democrat or a Republican is. But right. I grew up a Democrat, you know, in a Democratic family. I grew up, you know, a family full of Jews, New York.
Same,
you know,
exact same. Yeah.
When I grew up, Democrats were people that kind of cared for the people that couldn't care for themselves.
Yes.
You know, and then Republicans were kind of people that were financially responsible at a government level and just kind of more conservative in their views as far as, you know, whatever, a lot of stuff, abortion, gay rights. And it was kind of easy. It seemed more human to be Democrat when I grew up as opposed to now. And now it's just become so convoluted in that, like, you hear these, what some of the extreme left is asking for, you know, this whole shit that went down in Oregon.
Right.
And it's like, well, you're talking about Mad Max. You're talking about no police,
right,
policing yourself. You don't have a society that was built for that. I mean, you're talking about, you know, we want to live like Native Americans. You didn't fucking grow up like Native Americans. You didn't have to earn your meals. You didn't have to go out and hunt. You didn't have to farm shit. Right. You're just like someone that went down to fucking Starbucks and got a latte and was like, fuck the cops. That's a very different thing than starting your own society.
It used to be fringe.
And look what happened.
It used to be fringe. Now it's becoming way more mean. That's what I'm saying. That shit scares me, dude. And yeah, young people for sure are usually way more liberal leaning, progressive leaning, because it's easy to look at a problem and go, yes, we should help these people. And then you get older and a lot of people go, well, wait, how is this possible? Logistically, how do we pay for it? How do we just, so then a lot of people's, but I'm just saying, so that's where it's easy to be an idealist. If you took a poll right now and said, should anybody starve?
In Africa, right?
No, if you just took a poll in general and said,
should no one talk about Africa?
Because nobody gives
Why
it
does no one talk about Africa?
because it doesn't help anybody's agenda. I mean, but here, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You said it before. You said people in politics just want power. And it used to be that I viewed all these people on the left that said I'm a progressive liberal as, oh, they really are just kind heart. You always hear the term bleeding heart liberal or whatever. They're just a sensitive bleeding heart type. They really do want to help everybody. And there are a lot of people like that. But the people in power on that side, what became apparent to me is that they're exploiting that because they want the power, they want the votes, they want the control. They're obviously going to want these people to keep voting for them. And if these people's lives were to improve a great deal, well, they're not going to want to vote for them anymore because they're not going to want that. They're not going to need that free shit. There's a lot of, let me figure out how to exploit the pain and anger that's going on here. And then they're going to need me in their life. They're going to want me in their life. And I think there's nothing more disgusting than that. Like if you're not really trying to help people, but you're just trying to make them reliant on you instead, like now you're messing with people's lives.
I mean, it comes down to the same thing. It's just money, right?
It's money, it's power, I got to get reelected.
Exploit a group of people for money somehow. That just seems to be a common thing throughout history. Like, when the fuck did money get invented? Who invented money?
Well, I don't know. It's been a long time, though. They've had coins going back. I don't know, man. Ancient times, many thousands of years.
Is still rich, dead and still rich.
Well, you need a monetary system of some sort. I mean, if people are going to look, not everybody's the same. You should 100%. Every great innovation, every great invention, every great anything, it comes from the competition of some people are way better. Dude, if it was up to just, think about this. Like, I think I'm pretty smart. You're pretty smart. If it was up to me and you, we wouldn't be talking on these devices. There'd be no internet. We need exceptional people with exceptional skills and exceptional drive to master programming and sit up 20 hours in their garage, practice. Like, if they do that, they should make $1 billion. They're one in a billion people. They're a unique talent. They put in that work. I could have never done it. If it was up to me, we wouldn't have electricity. We wouldn't have anything. I'd be sitting there fucking picking at my toes, going like somebody invent something.
Yeah, I'd be throwing a spear for sure.
I mean, you need, private sector innovation. You need a reward system for that. And then any labor. If I'm going to go be a gardener, if I'm going to do anything, I need to be compensated for that work. And then I need something tangible to show I've been compensated for it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like that dude Chris Ryan. He wrote a book, Sex at Dawn or whatever, and he talked about like all these how
he was on Rogan. Right?
Yeah, he was on Rogan. Yeah, how civilization worked better, when it's like 150 people.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
100%.
There's no book written on how to run a fucking 300 million head count country.
And everyone coming and going all the time. It's funny when you talk about socialism because there's so many failed examples throughout history where millions of people die and starve and everything. But there's today examples of like democratic socialism in like the Netherlands, and they always point to it and go like, well, look at Denmark and look at Sweden and look at
like fucking 30 people there.
Dude, they have like, I want to say the country they always mention has like 6 million people. Like the state of Florida has 40 million people. So you're talking about taking like a quarter of just the state of Florida. Of course you could make
illegals.
Right, but of course you could make a utopia out of that. It's such a tiny group. Like of course you could.
It's just like all fucking gorgeous 6'8" white people.
Right, but of course you could have universal health care and no homelessness and stuff. You have a tiny little group of people and you guys can all do it. And by the way, those countries are adding more capitalistic features. They're lowering taxes right now. They're not continuing in that direction. If you look at what they're doing now, they're actually reeling it back because they realized they went a little too far. It's not full on socialism, and people always point to it like it is, but it's still democratic. And I think some of those have a corporate tax rate like we do even.
Well, shit, I'm moving.
I mean, they won't let you in, bro.
They do like regular drugs there. They like sell drugs. They give drugs to their people.
That's the other thing that's so funny.
What's happening here?
That's the other thing that's so funny, bro. Try to go to one of these countries, right? And then like get a visa or something or whatever. And then just when it's time to leave, just stay. See what'll happen.
Yeah.
Just be like, no, don't kick me out, racist. What do you not like Jews? I can't stay in Sweden. Like, Bro, they will break down your door and throw you out of the fight. You can't stay in these countries.
No,
There's a reason that,
I think
listen,
it's kind of cool. I think that should exist too. You know, whether it's whatever. I don't give a fuck what color you are. If it's all black and they say, yo, no white people in here in this fucking
yeah,
country in Africa,
you're cool with
no
that?
white people. I'm cool with
You're
it.
cool with racially, what's the word? Ethno states. They say Israel's an ethno state, but it's like 30-40% Arab. So, it's a misnomer, but
Yeah, I am because you know what? You're gonna end up like putting all the racist people in there, right? They're like, I only want to just fuck with white people. I only just want to fuck with black people or whatever it is. Go ahead. You know, out here, we'll come out, we'll socialize and be regular people. You want to be weird? Go in your own little territory.
I don't think
I'm
it's
good with that.
I don't even think it's a racial thing with a lot of people that want to keep their country. It's a cultural thing. There's really nothing. There's really
I mean,
nothing
here's my
wrong
whole
with
thing is
admitting.
like,
God,
who cares, right? It's all gonna be lost. You know, they're saying, well, I want to keep my culture. Guess what? In like 10 million years or
oh yeah,
whatever the fuck,
we won't be
you're going to
around.
be totally forgotten. Everything, the word white people will be forgotten. They'll be like, what the fuck is a white people?
Of
And
course,
it'll all be forgotten, you know?
yes.
So let's loosen up a little bit in our like stringent, hold up. Well, in my culture, we have apple pie or whatever the fuck. I don't care.
There's
Keep your apple pie if you want, but I'm not gonna
there's more to culture.
change.
Listen, there's more to culture than that. It's the and the
No, it's all apple pie, man.
it's apple pie and baseball. The part that bothers me more than anything is the disrespect for it and the well, fuck you guys. It's like we're all the everyone goes, well, this country was built on immigrants, and I talk about all the time, like the immigrants of the past that came here, your grandparents, my grandparents, their mentality was, wow, I get to be in America, I get to be
Yeah.
free, I get to have a chance, and like the last thing they wanted was like the government to get. They just wanted freedom and a chance, and they loved the country so much. And people come here now, and it's like day one, they're hating, they're going, this
Oh,
place
dude, here I am.
sucks.
A generation later, I'm like, where's my fucking $3,000, bro? I need more
But you get
cocaine.
what I'm saying. You
Yeah,
get
you're right.
you get what I'm saying. They want to come here and then shit all over it and say how racist we are and how backwards it is, and it's like it's not everybody. I'm not
This shit is
generalizing.
racist and backwards, man. I know a lot of white people, a lot of motherfuckers are racist, man. And I bet you if you go within like people's private homes in every community, there's racism. I mean, my
But what
one of
does
my
that
closest
mean?
friends,
What does that
what
mean?
it me that's actually a good question because this is how I feel too. My friend, he's Brazilian and he doesn't like Mexicans and black people.
Right, right,
And I'm like, dude, you're about fucking quarter point 3.2% different from a Mexican or a black person, my
right.
man. And so am I, you know? So I just always find it funny. So when I think of racism, what I think of is not giving someone a chance based on their appearance,
Yes,
right? To me, that's all it means.
I agree with that. Here,
And
but
whether it's hearing their opinion or hearing what they have to say or whatever they're trying to accomplish, but when now the definition of racism is a lot of different meanings, man.
yeah,
And
everyone's
it's like
racist.
white people can't be racist to black people because white people can suppress black people in positions of
Or you're saying
power
black
and
people can't be really right, right?
right, which I don't buy.
Of
I don't
course
buy.
not.
I think everybody can be
Super.
racist, and I think probably most people are racist to some degree. And I don't think all of it is condemnable,
Well,
you know?
what? Right. See that because I get the word racist is like it's become so diluted. It's hard to spot the real racist, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
I
It's
feel
like
like,
God.
but if here's you and I both know for sure, and like you said, you were in the military and stuff. So like, there's a certain type of dude. I don't care what color you are. If you're like working class type dude, or not even, and you're around your buddies, right? if you're white guys, you're going to be cracking jokes about blacks and Mexicans. If you're Mexican guys, you're going to be cracking jokes about whites and blacks. If you're black, you're going to be cracking jokes about whites and
For
everybody
sure.
kind of is in there. But to
And
me,
I'll crack jokes on white guys too. I'm
no,
not
of course,
discriminating.
but I don't even mean what I'm saying is if a bunch of dudes are hanging out in the army and they're all white and they're saying shit, or a bunch of Latino dudes are hanging out and they're saying shit, is that racism? Is that oppressing anybody? That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of jocular type shit going on, but like, are they in their lives actually preventing a minority from doing something, or are they doing something racist in their life, or are they, you know what I mean? So it's like, it doesn't actually
Probably
mean
not.
right. But if 12 guys are hanging out in the barracks cracking jokes that people would consider racist, it's not actually affecting anybody's life. Do you know what I mean?
And also, you should mention that in those barracks of those 12 people that I'm talking to, three are Latino,
Right. They're
two
all
are black,
mixed, and
one's
no
Asian.
one's getting offended at each other either, right?
No one's getting offended, and actually, it's even funnier,
Well, I
when
always say,
someone,
I said on here, I say the least racist people I've known are the ones that can kind of make fun of each other about it. It's the ones that are, if you're a real racist, like a real deep down, I want to hurt this race or I want to oppress this race, you're not going to talk about
you're
that.
not in a position to do it. I bet you.
Well, and you're also
Actually,
not gonna
maybe some are.
also like talk about it with your buddies. I mean, unless you're like a bunch of hardcore racists, you're not gonna be like, yeah, man, I didn't hire this dude the other day, because like
Yeah, maybe at a KKK meeting.
you're not gonna tell people like, I don't know. I think the racism today, this is my biggest problem, is there are no longer any rules or policies to change. We could talk about police reform, that's a separate issue, but like at a federal government level, there's no actual law that they're going change this law, change this rule, change this policy. So it comes down to that there are just individual people who are racist, right? You can't root out
It goes higher than that. There's racist cops, right?
I'm not saying there aren't racist cops. There's gonna be racist anything. There's gonna be racist
There's
construction
racist
work.
anything.
Of course, but those people don't work for they work for cities, locality. Fine, you should hire less racist people. That's not what I'm saying. You can't protest away individual behavior. That's my biggest issue. Is I feel like everybody's kind of misdirecting a lot of this stuff at a place where it's not going to solve anything. It's actually just dividing people more because everyone gets really frustrated being accused of being part of an issue that they're like, hey, I'm a good person. Like, why are you telling me I have privilege and I'm racist and shit? Like, people are like, what the fuck?
I know I've struggled with that in my personal life, just hearing all the white privilege and shit and like just being a straight white guy, right?
Of course, you're viewed a certain
You're not
way.
you're not you're not God's favorite right now,
Well, like
right?
you said, look at your life. You're not privileged. I know a bit about where
Well,
you come
see,
from,
so
and
that's what I'm saying, right? So I come from a life of struggle, right? I've
right,
earned my way to
and you
where I
join
am,
the
which
military,
yeah, and where I am isn't far. Don't get me wrong, but if I have a fucking white privilege, where do I fucking cash it in, please? If
right?
I have it, I'll use it
But
right
that's what I'm
now.
saying,
If I could please give me my white privilege.
right? Well, people will say, oh, when you walk around society, people don't look at you differently. They don't think you're gonna be stealing something, or they don't, you probably get. But like,
I get that too, and that sucks, man.
of course, who
That's
hasn't not gotten the job they wanted? Who hasn't been harassed? You know how many times I've been harassed by silly cops for nothing? I'm sure you have a million times.
oh man. I think it's more of like a young, cops are very good at picking up a vibe. What kind of person are you? You
Right.
pull me over when I was, 19 years old in my Honda Civic DX hatchback. You know what? If you thought I had drugs in the car, I probably did.
Right.
If he thought I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing, he was right. I was probably speeding. I was
Yeah.
doing something,
Riding
and
dirty.
that's profiling too, right?
Riding dirty
Is
with
that
that yayo.
I'm
Everything
riding
is a
dirty with that
profile,
coke and
bro.
the heat.
Everything's a profile. Look, if cops are interacting more in neighborhoods that are predominantly a certain race or this or that, because the crime level's up in that neighborhood, a logical person would go, how do we get the crime down in that neighborhood so that we don't have to have cops in there all the time? How do we get investments to come in that neighborhood? How do we give these people access? How do we make their schools better? That should be the focus. The symptom of, I think I read the stat, it was like 14 unarmed black men last year were killed by cops, one not resisting, whatever. The symptom of those 13, 14 people is it's not the root cause of anything. Even if you concede that it's a symptom of an issue, you can't say it's the cause. And that's what I have a problem with. People should be focusing on making actual people's lives better. It doesn't accomplish anything. Now you get cops getting shot execution style, sitting in their cars and stuff like that. I mean, you're just making an angrier place when you start, directing all your problems at such a small group of people, in my opinion.
It's a really touchy subject, right? Because if you look at, if you're like me, I follow a lot of different kind of pages on Instagram and stuff, and you go on and you see,
Yeah.
Black guys getting killed, whether it's on Michael Rappaport's page or Joe Schilling, an MMA fighter. I know you're a big MMA fan
I know
like I
Joe.
am. And
Just talk about MMA.
It's ugly, man. It's ugly. You see, examples of black people getting killed by cops where it's it's fucking alarming. As a I think my perspective changed a little bit when I became a father. I'm a father to a 9-year-old son, and I never have to think about him getting profiled by the cops. Right? He's like just
Why
like a
not? I mean, nobody should be. Statistically, it's a statistical anomaly. Nobody should be.
yeah, but
No, I
I
mean,
mean,
even a black person, if you just look at the statistics are of the 300 something million police interactions, 0.0003% or something, even for black people, end in getting killed. So it's like nobody should be walking around worried about a lightning strike.
yeah. So it's really a poverty thing, but
It's as much a poverty thing as anything, but
I still think if you're born black in America, you are more likely to get killed by a cop than a white kid is of your same age, same race, same
I can tell you
financial
this.
level, all that.
I can tell you this. I want to talk about MMA and jiu-jitsu and shit because we were talking about that.
Really?
I could tell you this. If I got pulled over for whatever and the cop said, "Hey, put your hands behind your back and let me cuff you," and I start rolling with these dudes.
Yeah, but you're a
No,
little
no, let me
pussy,
listen.
dude. What if a fucking
You said
big
what?
old
I am a pussy. I would no. My point is, I would let him cuff me. What I'm saying is, if I said, "Hey, let me try to get hooks in this dude and like start wrestling him," he probably will fucking shoot me. I don't.
yeah,
That's the point. Like I said, of the statistic I was talking about, of the 14 unarmed black men killed by cops last year,
is that it?
unarmed, of the
No
4,
way. I don't
yes.
believe it.
Well, think about it, Jake. There's a reason that you still see, what's the girl's name that was killed? There's a reason that they still,
Breonna Taylor.
yeah. So there's a reason they still talk about these same handful of names. Think about it.
Yo, I think there's more than 14 unarmed
It
black.
was 14
Even
last year, and it's been like 4 this year.
and how
And
do
by
they
the way,
classify an unarmed black person?
didn't
Was it a
doesn't.
dude that they just murdered going for his wallet that had a gun
But
in the
here's the point.
car?
Let's say it's 50.
We're
Look,
dude, we love guns.
one's too many. 14's too many. I'm not saying that. My point was, of the 14, they say 13 were resisting. Look, I don't trust a cop's judgment to not fucking shoot me if I'm tussling with
Well,
this
see,
guy.
that's the fucking problem, right? That a
Right.
cop is soft. The cop does
Okay,
not
but
have the
is that a
training that
racism
he
issue?
in some instances, yes, but I do think that cops, being fat and being out of shape, not being able to fight,
Did you watch what
spending
I
all their
said
time.
on this pod about grappling? Because you said something similar to me on Facebook, but I think we talked about it years ago anyway. How do cops not have just a basic, like, what is it? A white belt's the first belt?
A fucking white belt.
Let me tell you
So
something.
let me tell you a
Go
story.
ahead. Go ahead.
So my girlfriend, her father, he's an Olympic wrestler, right?
All right.
John Morgan, look him up. Fucking savage. Actually beat Randy Couture
Oh, wow.
3 times. Yes,
Greco-Roman?
Greco-Roman
Nice.
guy, 88 Olympic team, wrestled Dan Henderson, you name it. Matt Lindland, just a tough ass old
Sick.
country motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
So, but a really smart guy. Probably falls along the lines of you, kind of leans right, but just more, uh, wants to be left alone, wants to keep guns, protect his family, and have his land, right? Uh, he Oh shit, where was I going with this?
We
What
were
were you talking about?
we were talking about cops being trained, having a white belt or
Oh, right,
something. Yeah.
right. So he goes in, heard of a instance in downtown Lakewood, right? He's been in Lakewood, grew up in Minnesota, wrestled for NDSU, North Dakota State, just a fucking savage,
Right.
you know. He goes and he goes to the police department because they killed a black guy.
Okay.
This is, I mean, 15, 20 years ago, long time. And he's like, hey, I saw a report in the news. He was like, I saw what happened. They had two guys, two cops restraining one guy.
Mm-hmm. Of
The dude got up, ran away, and they shot him in the back, right?
course.
Which
Which is
happens,
every video you see of a cop
which should be,
shooting.
yo, how about a law? Cops can't shoot people in the back.
Fine, but
If
listen,
he gets away, if
bro,
you
I'll take it.
if you
Listen,
are a big enough bitch where you can't hold a guy down with two guys and he runs away, you can't shoot him in the back.
listen, Jake. I'll take it even further. I think if cops all had like a let's say a blue belt or something, you would probably reduce justified shootings by 80-90%.
So
Even
much.
even the even the ones where they end up allowed to shoot the guy because he got a hold of my gun, or he got on top of me and he was beating my head in with a brick or whatever. It's like, you shouldn't have been in that position. And I'm telling you, dude, every cop shooting video I see, even the justified ones, starts with
It's because a cop can't fight.
no, but it starts with them having a hold of the dude in an advantageous position and him tossing two grown men off like it's nothing. Like, they would learn day one how to at least, like, that the dude that got shot in the
It's
Wendy's,
easy.
the guy that got shot in the Wendy's drive-through, the two guys were on the ground with him. The one dude had his back and he was sprawling in the back. He was sprawled out behind him like this instead of putting his, but like, one dude had his back, one dude was on top of him, and he just stood up, tossed him off, ran and took the guy's taser from him or whatever. Like, I'm not arguing if that was justified. They should have never been chasing that guy with their own taser in his hand in the first
No.
place, dude. They had him
He
on the
fucking
ground.
disarmed two cops face down on the
Drunk.
pavement. The two
Drunk.
grown men. Dude.
He
So
just woke up
John
from a
goes in there.
drunken sleep.
He talks to the I don't know. He gets a meeting with the chief, right? Of
Okay.
the local police
Sorry, I
station. So he
interrupted your
goes
story.
in.
My fault. My fault.
No, no, it's okay. It's same point. So he comes in and he's like, hey, I saw the recent video on the news. He's like, I can teach your guys just a couple of things. Won't won't charge you a dime. Let me just, help your guys out because we can save their lives and save lives of a possible perpetrator or someone you're trying to arrest or
Yeah,
whatever.
subdue or whatever. Yeah.
And the cop says no. The chief of police says
Right.
no. I'm not interested. We have a training program in place, and thank you for your time. Here's a local guy, an American wrestler during '88 who's basically an American hero going against the Russians, and they won't
Right.
even give him the time of day to help possibly not just save the lives
They
of
don't care.
civilians, but to save the lives of their own guys.
They
And
have to. People have to do it on their own. They got to do it on their own.
I had not comprehended that. Yeah, but why should they have
It's
to do
it's
that on their
they
own? How is
shouldn't.
that not part
They
of your job
shouldn't.
training as a
It
cop?
it shows what a pragmatist you are, because if you say this to anybody on certain side, they go like, "Wow, you're trying to make cops more deadly." Like, no, the more
No,
deadly
we're
they
trying to make
are.
cops more safe.
But not only that, as well as I do, the part where they panic and they freak out and they go, I got to shoot. It's like all that gets taken out in the training process itself. Like, they get used to having big sweaty dudes on top of them, holding them down.
You
Like,
got to
okay.
get your ass beat.
And also, I can lay here and not freak out. And I understand that it's like, if they didn't freak out as much and you weeded a lot of these guys out in that type of training process, I mean, that's the whole thing to me, is you get a calmer, better trained. The more lethal someone is, the less likely they are to kill someone. You know what I mean?
Right.
The most
Yeah,
lethal dudes in the world are the ones that never shoot anybody.
totally agree,
It's the
man.
guys that are
Yeah,
like,
I think I'll take it a step further. Even past cops, I think most men should train themselves on how to protect themselves and their family. You look at a situation that we're in right now where people are rioting and being
right,
crazy. What if someone runs up on your house?
waiting for the cops to show up 7 minutes later.
Fuck that. I
Yeah.
think as a man, as I see it in America, you have to take it upon yourself to be able to defend your family.
Well, that's how it always was. It's like a recent weird phenomenon that you go, oh, I could pick up this device and call somebody. Like throughout all of human
Crazy.
history, there was no phone or anyone to
There's
call.
no
It
help
was like,
button.
yeah, it was just you. And
Yeah.
like, right. So we're so detached from that mentality. People get weird with that stuff, man. But 100%, if you treated cops like an elite cream of the crop job and you said, we're gonna have stricter hiring practices, we're gonna pay them more, not less, train them, put them through more psychiatrics. The stuff I was really saying would be important because we were just talking about the high stress stuff, because you want to test these people in a freak out situation, like
Right.
repeatedly, like you want to put them in a situation where like people don't understand.
Even though you can't,
Well,
right? Because you know it's a training
yeah,
situation.
but bro, they let seals just all pass out underwater and shit. Like, I'm not saying they'll do all that, but here's the if their adrenaline has never felt that way, like people don't understand. You get in a 45-minute car chase. When that cop gets out of the car, he's not in his right frame of mind. His heart's going a million miles an hour. His adrenal shit. This guy's never felt that way before. He has he's been on the, job 6 months, 2 years, whatever. It's crazy. People should have been in these situations where, because you'll see, if you see people reacting funny in those drills, you go, sorry, man, you can't be a cop.
Yeah.
You're not responding when we get your heart rate crazy and your adrenal function crazy. You're not responding well to
And
that.
you put a fucking baton across someone's throat.
But I feel like
If you say die bitch during training, you're fucking kicked out.
you could weed out a lot of the psychos. You could weed out a lot of the weak-minded dudes. Look at that Trayvon Martin, the guy, the idiot George Zimmerman that
Oh
shot him.
man, you see him signing bags of Skittles and fucking
He,
whatever else
I,
to
I, I,
make a little money. Just a fat, sloppy loser. He's a loser, man, that guy.
but that's the point I always made about Zimmerman, because Florida's a stand your ground law or whatever, right? He put himself
A
in.
fucking security boy.
No, but he put himself in a position where he was going to have no choice but to shoot the first person he encountered because he couldn't fight, and he got mounted by a 16-year-old kid. So you're going
16.
right. So you're going out there with a gun. You're putting your hands on kids first. Obviously, you're going to get your fucking ass beat because you can't fight, and now you're allowed to pull out your gun and shoot somebody. Like, you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to have to shoot somebody.
Yeah.
It's the same with
Oh,
some of
for
these
sure.
cops.
If a security guard put his hands on me when I was 16, I would have fought him too.
He
And
wasn't even an official security guard. He was like his own. He designated himself like the neighborhood watch. He wasn't employed by like a real security company or
I
something.
didn't know that.
No, it's even worse. He was like a voluntary self neighborhood watch dude. He didn't have a real job.
That's so crazy.
And he was just walking around the neighborhood harassing people, like, where you headed, shit like that. Of course, any teenager's be like, get the fuck off me, pops. Don't put your hand on my shoulder. You know what I mean? Of course. But
That's so bad.
I mean, Florida, the stand your ground's a lot. You can punch someone in the face. Like, I could walk up on the street, right? Punch some dude in the face. And then if he gets me down and starts like beating my face in with a brick, I can shoot him. Because my life's in danger. I have to stand. If I feel like I'm going to be killed, and I go, all I did was slap him. Not that hard. Just walked up and slapped. It
There's
doesn't
gotta
matter if you
be there.
telling you.
There's
If you
wow.
if you
Well,
if you commit an act of violence on someone that doesn't warrant deadly force, right? So let's just say I walk up and slap you in the face on the street, and now you bring what I deem deadly force to me, like you're kicking my head or hitting me with a bat or something, I can shoot you. I mean, that's the law.
damn. I need to move back to Florida, huh?
I mean, Zimmerman did put his hands on that kid first, so whatever.
That's crazy.
The other thing that killed me about this case, nobody talked about, like, he said it was self-defense because the kid was banging the back of his head against the curb repeatedly, and he just had those little scratches. You know, from MMA, if your head hits you know how easily that's going to split open the back of your head and just gush blood. Like, there was no, that was the court argument, that his life was in danger because his head was being beaten against the concrete curb. but it was just like scratches. I'm like, if
I've
one,
actually never beat someone's head off of the back of their head off of a curb, but
it would
I
split
could see
open
how
like a
that could
melon
just,
if you did.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I've had my head smacked off of the back of a army bunk before, and it busted open actually pretty good. But I think if you are bashing someone's head on the concrete, part of the problem is most people don't know how easy it is to hurt someone's brain to the
Right.
point of it can't be repaired, whether it's dead or a coma or not the same, right?
Yeah.
So if I watch, like I said, I follow certain pages on Instagram where if you see someone, you'll see a street fight, someone gets
Yeah.
knocked out, and then
It's the worst. I
they
can't
get
watch.
KO'd on their feet and they fall back and just smack their head on the pavement. Do you know how quick you can catch a fucking murder
I was just
charge from
saying, there's
that?
a lot of people in prison for just punching somebody one time, and that person.
Even in self-defense, that can
Correct.
happen to you. So be fucking mindful. If someone, you need to make sure you need to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be getting into a confrontation outside of a bar or a restaurant where someone disrespected you or your girl, and then you're gonna fucking cold cock them and bounce
Yeah.
their head off the pavement like a basketball. You might never come home. So
Like that dude
keep
whose
that in
ass you
mind.
beat at the school. Who was that?
Yeah,
What was that?
I forgot his name,
I don't
but he's
remember
no
that.
longer with
You
us.
sprawled on that guy.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah,
said,
don't do that.